Hey, what's going on, guys? Years later, the Blooded Orphans line still chugs along here with the latest release of the Gundam Zagan here in the line. A really cool looking Gundam design, I do have to say. Very unique, very cool, very wide, and yeah, just very different. So I'm really looking forward to checking this one out here for today's video. Let's go ahead and get right into it. But some really cool box art here on the front with the Gundam kind of doing this sort of about to punch, but it's got this kind of like wind sort of suction effect going on here. I'm guessing that's something to do with the design. Honestly, I really don't know anything about the Gundam itself, so we'll have to check out what information we have included on the box and the instruction manual, but the illustration looks awesome there with the light effects. So you can see the Gundam's eyes just kind of peeking out amongst this very heavy armor that it has here on the front, and then of course those big claws and all this kind of like lightning sort of effect there in the background as well. So really cool box art here on the front. And on the side of the box, a couple things to point out. This is number 47 in the line, and also this box is quite thick. This is a pretty thick box, a good amount of stuff in here. And on the bottom here we can see some images of the kit built and painted there with those big claw arms extended out in a number of different poses here, showing the articulation of that in some nice big photos. And there's also a bit there about the sticker and open hand parts that we're going to have included with this as well. So yeah, very interesting. And then here on the bottom of the box, a look at the built and painted kit again, front and back there. We have the illustration, and then a little bit more about the other releases from the Blooded Orphans Erd Hunt in 1/44 scale. Of course, the recently released Monkey Roadie kit, I will definitely be checking that one out in the near future, as well as the Schwalbe Grey's Custom and Gundam HGIBO, which we previously took a look at in past reviews. You can check those out if you missed those. Before we dive into the kit, I will just say that just kind of based on the box art and based on the rollout of this kit, I do kind of have to wonder if this was originally planned to be a premium Bandai release and then was made as a standard release. I'm not sure. Just based on the current climate of how Bandai's releasing kits, it would have been very easy to see this coming out as a premium Bandai exclusive. And something just feels kind of different about like the photographs here on this side of the box in particular, like the size, the coloring, the image quality, and just kind of the lack of text. Usually we would see like a lot more kind of text and a lot more design going on. Instead we just have like these big photos, which is cool. I like it. I like how this looks, but it's different, something different about it. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments section. But for now, let's go ahead and dive in. Like I said, this is a pretty packed full box. There's a lot of stuff in here. So let's just take a quick peek through the manual here. You got the box art there at the top, and then down here at the bottom, as per usual for the line, we got the Gundam illustration here alongside the pilot illustration, in this case being Londebron there, and some text in Japanese and in English about each of them. On the back side is some information about what we've got here for our weaponry, the shield pliers unit, which is going to be those big units there that are attached to not actually onto like the shoulders, actually onto the back skirt sort of, it would seem. These screw fists. So that's what we can see there demonstrated on the box art, it would seem. And it says these are melee combat weapons that are used to strike targets while rapidly rotating the manipulators. Their destructive force can easily destroy the armor of mobile suits. Okay, so basically it punches while spinning its fist. Interesting. So there's a bit more about the tactics, the Gundam frame, the color guide down here at the bottom, and then again some more of the lineup. Everything there is in Japanese and in English, which is awesome. On the inside here we've got the parts list and some of the construction. It looks like the last couple pages of the construction is going to be here in color, while everything else on the inside is going to be there as usual in black and white for the majority of the construction. It's a high grade, but as you can see here, we do have a good amount of parts for this. But before we get into the runners, we do have a small sticker sheet included here, and you guys will be pleased to see how small this is, really just for the eyes. A couple little bits there in white, dark blue, and then the kind of sticker logo there for the front of the chest. But then for the runners, we do have the very familiar PC002 polycap runner here in that dark brownish gray color, typical of Blooded Orphans kits. And the same goes for the A runner here, which is actually the Gundam Frame 4 runner from 2016 originally. And so obviously I think we're going to be using some parts from this, and then we'll probably have a lot of new parts as well. We will have a good amount of leftover parts here from this runner. The B runner is going to be here in 4 colors, all new parts here. You have some white over here on the side, magenta red kind of color down there at the bottom, a molded gold up there for like the blade parts on the claws, and then this dark navy blue, which is going to be the main armor color there for the Gundam. Runner C as well, a full runner of more dark navy blue parts, and we do have 2 of the C runner. Runners D1 and D2, some more inner frame parts, and so as you can see, there's going to be a lot of new frame parts here for this one on these runners, with the majority of the runner doubled, just a little bit different parts there between the 2 runners up there at the top. So a bunch more inner frame parts here in that that dark brownish gray color. Runners E1 and E2 are here in this kind of pale bluish gray color here, with this half of the runner being copied there. You got some parts for the hands here are going to be in this lighter color, which is interesting, not in that dark gray color that we saw for the inner frame, and then some other accent parts there for the armor. Lastly then, runner F1 is going to be some more parts for like the frame and joints, mechanical type parts there, along with runner F2 being a few more additional dark blue parts. And that's it for everything. Let's go ahead and get it built up and check it out. All right, guys, and then here it is all put together. He's very wide. And it was really fun to put this one together. It has been a little while since I've built an HGIBO kit, and so it did feel kind of familiar, as there was some familiar aspects to it, and the frame especially, of course, but definitely a lot of new parts going on in there, and definitely a just kind of different feel to this one being much more heavy and bulky. I guess like the most comparable thing would maybe to be like reminded me a little bit of building the Helmut Draencar kit, but this one definitely had a little bit different feel to it. So it's cool that the line is still continuing with some of these releases, and this one was really fun to put together. Quite the interesting design for this one as well, especially with those large shield plier units, which are going to be the main accessory. But let's go ahead and take a look at everything else that we have included with this kit. And yeah, with this we really just don't have much in the way of accessories. Here we have our set of open hands here for the left and the right side, which do look really nice, pretty nicely detailed in there as far as just HG hands go, so those look good. And then on the kit we've got our set of closed fists as well, so actually no weapon holding hands included with this at all. So if you did want to like customize this, giving it a different weapon to actually hold in the hands, you don't have that. Although I guess you do have a handful of leftover frame parts, including the leftover frames for basically 2 complete arms, including the weapon holding hands, which are just kind of the standard hands for the HGIBO series. But these back part of the hands, the armor panels for the backs of the hands that we have included with this kit, don't fit on that weapon holding hand. Like the size is not even right or anything either, so it just kind of wouldn't really work. You might be able to make it work, but if you wanted to have this actually holding onto a weapon, you can just swap the hand entirely. Now the ball joint is the same size, so any other option hands should work with this. There is one more sort of little option here just when it comes to the stickers. I have that one there on the chest, and then up here on the head, those 2 little white bits, that little rectangle and then this little like white shape down there below that, that's 2 separate stickers. But there is also an option to have that as just one sticker, and then with like the kind of navy blue in between. I guess that's just so if you didn't want to have the 2 separate stickers there, which might have a higher tendency to come off or get lost or something like that. So you've got extras, but that's it. So while we're here at the head, I'll also mention that I did take off the safety flags. So on these little white horns here on the top of the head and these larger kind of V-fin parts off to the side, there were little safety flags on each of those white tips, and I did cut those off and sharpen those down to make them look a little bit nicer. You don't have a whole lot of space for head articulation, but pointing the head up, you can see the stickers there for the eyes as well. It's just kind of sunken down in this large collar part there, and so there's not a whole lot of room for the head to move around inside there, but a little bit enough that it should work, you know, good enough for posing the kit. Here on the front of the shoulders, you have these kind of unique armor panels that are not going to be on the back, they're only on the front, just kind of added armor on here. It looks pretty cool. I also quite like the design of the arms. It's pretty cool how you have just like the exposed frame and the armor is really only kind of on the back side. You have these large armor panels on the back of the upper arm and the back of the forearm here, but then otherwise it's just frame there. The front skirts are pretty standard here. You do have that nice separated part for that red kind of vent there in the center. Those can be clipped apart to move separately. And then you've got some nice detail up underneath there, although it definitely would benefit from painting that so it's not just solid red, but at least the detail would look good once painted. Around here on the back, you can see 2 important things. One is that these panels here of like the back of the torso cover where those would have like hard points for putting on a backpack. So if you do want to have any kind of like backpack on this, that is also something that's just not going to work, you know, as it is, but you could certainly customize that to work for you. The mounting point here for the claws is actually mounted at the back of the waist section. Then you have these very large back skirts which actually kind of wrap around to form the side skirts as well, but those are also going to be individually articulated. They can move out to the side, out to the back here like that. So a nice range of movement there for those large skirt bits. Obviously we have the large claws, which we'll come back to in just a minute. But as for the legs, well, there's really not too much to say here about the legs. They're just going to work pretty normally as far as IBO legs go. They are nice in that they have no hollow gaps really kind of underneath the feet there, but the ankle will rotate side to side here. The toe part will actually move on its own, which is nice. Again, that's all been pretty standard to this line though. And then our knee bend here will not have any separation of the knee knee armor or anything, but a pretty nice range of movement. And then around on the back of the legs as well. Not really too much to see here. Some nice detail up underneath the kind of armor panels there, and that's kind of about it. So as for the shield plier units, as you can see here, they're mounted on this connection arm, which has a couple different points of articulation. You can also rotate this entire connection arm there at the point where it's connected there at the back skirt. So a good range of movement. And then here where that's actually connected onto the mechanical arm is on a ball joint, so you can move that around as needed. And then the design of this looks really nice. You have this one part that's a separate piece there for that like circle detail. That's a separate part, so that's gray, but then these other ones are not, so definitely would benefit from a little bit of painting. Kind of surprised that we didn't get stickers for those as well. But this will unfold out, extend out like that, and then this part will open up like that. You can see this part below that also moves individually. So it seems like a kind of secondary claw or something almost, but it's actually just so that this can open up and then that kind of moves at the same time. But here's our claw there. It doesn't really have anything else much going on other than just it's a very unique, cool weapon like that. You can sort of imagine the versatility, especially in the Blooded Orphans universe, how that could be a formidable weapon, I'm sure. And yeah, like I said, it's certainly very unique. You have this sharp, what is meant to be like a sharp blade here along the edge as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the kit in a few different poses here now. And as usual, there is a hard point just underneath the waist section for putting this up on an action base if you would like to. And yeah, for a kit that doesn't really come with a whole lot, I think it's, you know, a very unique design and does what it's supposed to do, and it looks good doing it, so I'm very happy with that. It does have the somewhat unique bonus of actually having multiple different option hands included, especially in an IBO kit. Pretty typically, we usually only just get like the weapon holding hands, the standard ones, and that's it. So the fact that this comes with closed fists and open hands is really cool. That is just kind of part of the design though, with having like the screw fist as one of its main weapons. But either way, you love to see it. That said, as I was mentioning just before, if you did want to customize this by giving it some sort of weapon to hold in the hand, you are unfortunately going to be out of luck there. So it's kind of like you just can't win. But as I said, that's easy enough to remedy just by swapping the hands if you really want to, with some extra parts, leftover parts or something like that. Overall, the main draw of this kit is just going to be the very unique weapons that it has there with the shield pliers. Those are certainly going to be something that are really going to make this kit stand out just among any other kits, even among the Blooded Orphans line, where we've seen a lot of really unique different weapons and different kind of gimmicks built into some of the Blooded Orphan Gundams in particular, but just other mobile suits of the series. But this one definitely has a great unique feel to it. But for a line that just keeps chugging along, we just keep continuing to get more HG Blooded Orphans kits. I'm glad that we're getting ones that are so unique and exciting as this one. I really like this kit, and I could definitely recommend it to you guys. If you're feeling like you might be a little bit tired of the line, a little bit burnt out on the line, I can't blame you, but this is one that I would definitely take a look at if you haven't, thought about getting it too much yet, or if you have, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about this one? I enjoyed it quite a bit, but I'm anxious to hear what you guys think. But as always, if you want to check it out for yourself, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. We've got lots of great stuff on there, this kit and more, so check all that out. And as always, of course, thank you guys so much for all of your support, leaving a like, making sure that you're subscribed as well, and just watching the video. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys, and until next time, hope you all are doing well. See ya.